Cancer, welcome to my channel, The Intuitive Teacup. I'm so happy to have all you guys here with me. Welcome back to the subscribers and welcome to the newbies. I'm a bit delayed. This was supposed to be your July monthly readings, but I went on vacation. I needed it, which I'm sure y'all can understand. So that being said, we're going to hop right in for you. So I'm calling this your July monthly, but really whenever you see it is when you were meant to. There's no fixed start or end date for energy, right? It's free flowing rather. So only take away messages for your best and highest good, please. As always, these are general messages. That means that not everything I say here today is going to resonate with all the Cancers out there. So please do only take away messages for your best and highest good, right? We know this. Feel free to check your sun, moon, rising, and Venus signs if you would like additional messages. If you don't know how to do that, I will put a link in the description box below. If you are into social media, I am the Intuitive Teacup on Facebook and Instagram. And happy birthday, Cancers. I know I'm probably catching some of you a little bit delayed, but I hope everybody had a wonderful birthday or will have a wonderful birthday. All right, so final messages for Cancer, messages they need to hear for their best and highest good. All right, and we'll do this one last deck. I have some new decks I'm using here today. I'm super excited to share with you guys. So all that important information will be in the description box if you're interested. And we're going to hop in for Cancer. Messages that they need to see and hear. All right, let's do it. So the first card we pulled for you is Obedience. Okay. And that is being clarified by the 10 of Bees. So in this deck, this is the 10 of Swords. So a completion of a cycle. Perhaps some sort of cycle that has been a strain on you mentally. Even in this image, she's holding her sword there, right? There's something about you being obedient to something that isn't serving you anymore, or serving someone else, following the rules, staying within the status quo, sorry. But it's almost to your own demise. It's a heavy burden, if not physically, mentally. You may be trying, it's something about staying within rules or boundaries, or even potentially staying within this path that maybe you felt like you were supposed to go down, but then maybe you had a change of heart, but it was almost, you felt like it was too late to change your mind because it's mental energy. So it's very interesting. This is very similar to the Justice card if we look at it, right? She's holding her scales, right? She's got her sword of truth. Now, I always have to note, like, when the sword of truth isn't faced up towards the sky, right? The heavenly bodies, the gods, whatever you believe. There's something here about uncertainty, right? So you're being obedient, but to, I just want to say to what extent, or to your own demise, potentially. Something about this is saying take off the blindfold, like it's like this false belief has gone on long enough, Cancer. It's time to, like, take off the blindfold, and it's like this mental death. It's time to let this go. It could be a person that you've been holding on to, but it more has to do with maintaining the status quo or ideology of somebody else's beliefs that are not in alignment with yours. I hope I'm explaining that well. So also being clarified by more sword energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. You have the 4 of Swords here. Libra energy specifically, and this does have a very, like, justice type feel to it. But the 4 of Swords is a card of rest, of meditation sometimes, of thinking things through. The 4 of Swords comes after the 3 of Swords, which is a lot of times an uncomfortable energy. It can be heartbreak, it can be sorrow, it can be depression. For you, Cancer, I mean, it's going to be different for everybody in the details, but it's something that I think is making you sad, because it feels like the wind has been taken out of your sails, and you've resigned yourself to a life or a path or a job or maybe a relationship. This could be contracts, marriage, that it's just not in alignment with, I think, your desires, but specifically it has to do with your mindset. It's unhealthy or a burden to to like the freedom of your mind and your thoughts, and choosing and going after what you really want. And I'm also getting with this rest that it's like, it's almost like you've taken it, you've had to swallow it for a long time, but I'm just getting, it's time to liberate yourself. That's sort of being double clarified here. And maybe this rest period is you really kind of, I want to say, getting your ducks in a row of how you're going to leave this situation, if that's what you desire, or at least at minimum how you're going to change it up. Also here, wow, okay, is forgiveness. So some of you could absolutely be dealing with a person, and what instantly came to mind here is it's forgiveness, but you may or may, for most of you, this isn't a forgiveness in the physical realm, meaning if this is a situation you're dealing with a person, for most of you, it's not going to be a, hey, let's grab coffee, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done this, you shouldn't have done that, whatever. This is energetically forgiving someone so that you can release them, if that makes sense. So for some of you, if this is like an ex or a breakup, you may have been carrying this mental baggage of all the pain and suffering and potentially heartbreak, right before the Four of Swords, the Three of Swords, that this person caused you. And I don't know if obedience is like you were, something about you had already been split from them, but you were still faithful, if that makes any sense. I don't know if you were waiting for them to come back or waiting for a reconciliation, but yeah, it's like you were living in a headspace that wasn't serving you, if that makes sense. Forgiveness is, it's energetically releasing anything that they've done to you, and it's also releasing yourself from that burden. It's cradling and loving and nurturing yourself, like, you know, like you're the baby in this scenario here. It's self-love, it's self-care. Very interesting, Cancer. And I think most of you are aware of this situation, but you're in this transition mode of actually embracing the new cycle of closing out this sort of chapter, if you will. We have the 8 and the 4, which come to 12, so that makes me think of the Hanged Man, which again, it's self-reflection, but it's taking a look at the world around you and then deciding ultimately that isn't my story anymore. It's time for me to transform, right? Card number 13 is death, the transformation process. So yeah, there may be a little bit of stagnancy in your life right now, Cancer, but the release is coming, but it's up to you. And yeah, a huge part of this has to do with either forgiving someone else. Again, for most of you, it's energetically, it's not necessarily having that conversation. If that's something you want and desire, then sure, if that's going to help your own energy and your own mental and emotional health to have a conversation with someone and potentially, you know, seek forgiveness. But again, for most of you, it's forgiving yourself and energetically releasing the other person. So the second card here we have is Wishing. Okay, that's a pretty card. And Wishing is being clarified by the 8 of Swords, so the 8 of Bees in the stack. I just have to show you the back of these cards because I'm in love with them. They're so cool. I just think that's awesome looking. All right, so wishing that you could liberate yourself from this, essentially. If these two messages are connected, this might connect with a different group of Cancers, but the 8 of Swords is mental imprisonment, right? It's the false beliefs, again, mental energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, not that that's a huge focus to this, but it's the mental prison, the false beliefs we tell ourselves that ultimately keep us trapped. It keeps us, for some, in the safety zone, but the thing is, the safety zone is not always comfortable, but it's familiar, right? So sometimes we don't realize we're keeping ourselves in situations that are actually quite damaging, but because it's known, we keep ourselves there because fear of the unknown, it's that I don't, well, it's the unknown, right? It's scary is what I'm trying to say, right? But because with wishing, it's like, I do think there is recognition that you have been holding yourself back, Cancer. Again, for some of you, please only take what resonates. But yeah, like the idea of like throwing pennies in a fountain of, oh, well, someday I'm going to have the perfect relationship, or someday I'll have whatever, the perfect job, the perfect home, the perfect car. But there's something here about living in the reality, and I want to say in the tangible. because right now it's all up in your head. It's not taking the physical action, or the building the way you would say with pentacles, or wands with fire action, if that makes sense. And maybe for some of you, your beliefs of what you truly wish and desire, you think they're not attainable or achievable. But what you're not recognizing here, and I don't mean to sound condescending, is that some of you deep down, like in the subconscious, don't actually think you deserve it. And that's what's keeping you in this Eight of Swords energy. So again, false beliefs. I want to be very clear about the whole you not deserving your dreams and wishes. That is a false belief, okay? You absolutely do, Cancer. But if you've been in this stagnancy, stuck, kind of like living with a blindfold on, it has to do with telling yourself or believing things that just simply aren't true. And it has to do with your own abilities to go after what you truly want and what you deserve, okay? So that is also being clarified by the High Priestess, okay? So a very Cancerian energy, right? Ruled by the moon. Again, how I was saying, deep within the subconscious, and this sort of reminds me of the Rest card. Even the depiction here, it's very this like meditative, relaxed state. It's a card of non-action. The High Priestess sits and she knows. She channels messages from spirit and within, and intuitively understands what's going on in the world around her, but also what's going on inside of her. So this is sort of a double confirmation that it's saying, like, Cancer, stop. Like, what's really going on, like, in here and in here, right? In your heart, in your head. The High Priestess can also indicate the idea of secrets. So because this is coming up with wishing, it could be that there's something you're desiring that you're not speaking the truth, speaking out loud about. And I just said the High Priestess is about secrets, but if it's also about knowing your own truth, though. So there's something about speaking your truth that scares you, and maybe that's why this is sort of coming up here. But I'm just getting that it's safe for you, Cancer. Like, the timing, if it's not now, like, the timing is coming. And yeah, something about listening to your intuition, maybe doing some, like, meditation, or if you're involved in spirituality, if you practice tarot, there's something about going within to seek some answers and to really take some time on it. It's not just a quick, like, what is the answer to my life? It's not going to come that way. It may even involve, like, journaling, or if you're an artist, some sort of, like, artistic expression. That's how messages are going to come through to you here, and it's going to release you from this, like, prison. Because, yeah, there's been mental blockages that are not allowing you to go after what you truly want and desire. Yeah, absolutely. It's the card of enlightenment. That's exactly what we were just saying, right? When you go into this meditative, restful state, when you're in High Priestess energy, if you will, sit and channel those higher messages from spirit, from God, from the universe, right? From your heart, right? From you, what you believe, what you desire. There's going to be some sort of enlightenment. You may get some sort of message. You may have if you believe in such a thing, ancestors may be getting in contact with you, sending you very personalized messages on maybe how to help free yourself from this, or something that just clicks for you, again, individually. But the idea of enlightenment, this dark shadow that's been kind of moving over your head, it's like the blindfold is finally lifted. The prison, the jail bars are finally, open up. You're released back into the world again. Something about there's something about lost innocence here too. It's almost like you've had to go through the school of the hard knocks, if you will, to learn some really, really difficult lessons, Cancer. The energy is pretty heavy, but this enlightenment is going to offer you new opportunities, almost like a rebirth, but a second chance is what I'm trying to say here. But again, that's only going to come if you, like, self-nourish. And by that I mean that meditative, peaceful state, even though it may be kind of like a clusterfuck of things going on around you, right? A shitstorm, all these foul language, sorry. But all this mess and this chaos in your life, it's like you need to tune out. And focus on you. Because there's important messages to be seen, to be had. But yeah, it's going to come with like self-care. And I don't think for most of you, I don't think you're currently doing that. It's like you're putting yourself on the back burner. Because of whatever this obedience has to do with, you're sacrificing your own, again, mental health, even your body's health, for something or someone else, career, person, children, potentially. Let's move on and see what else we can get. So the last card I have for you is Reminder. And it says, don't forget. And the 2 and the 8 come to a 10, right? So that's also a number of completion. We had that earlier. And you have it here as well with the 1 and the 9. And where was it? Oh, and then you have the 10 of Swords here, the 10 of Bees. So the reminder is being clarified by the Magician, okay? So this to me is very clear. This is like, Cancer, wake up. You're powerful, remember? You're a magician. You have magic about you, right? There's something here, it's like Queen of Wands energy. Something or someone has dimmed your light. You've forgotten how amazing and powerful and beautiful and stunning and creative and intelligent, and I could throw in all these fantastic, just describing words here, but you seem to have misplaced yourself or your self-worth, your value. Again, focusing on something else that has not been healthy. And maybe in your heart you thought it was for a good cause or would lead to a nice future. I'm not like reprimanding you, right? Because Cancers do have such a kind, giving heart. But it's like you overgave, and maybe this has been a cycle and you haven't quite learned the lesson yet. But again, because it's almost like you're in hangman mode. Some of you are on the brink of this, like, this wake-up call is really what this is. That whatever you've been wishing for or thinking about or think you lost the opportunity, you haven't. You haven't lost it. But you need to wake up and realize your own magic. The idea that, all the tools you need to create the life of your dreams, essentially, the life you're wishing for. All the tools are right in front of you. You have the ability to manifest whatever you want. But again, that manifestation, it has to start within you, right? I mean, these kind of go in order, right? We have the Magician followed by the High Priestess. You have to go within first. It's going to start internally, not externally. So you have the Magician twice. This is the same card, different decks. So yeah, it's double confirmation for you guys, Cancer. Like, there's something that you need to bring into this world. Now that is extremely vague, but for oddly enough, for some of you, that might be a child. If some of you are looking to conceive or be pregnant, again, not for most of you. That was just kind of a random one-off I got there. But again, the Magician has to do with the inception of the idea and what you are going to create into the world. You haven't created it yet. It's figuring out the details of the ideas, understanding the tools, if you will, the skills you have, and what you can contribute, what you can manifest, what you can create with them. For some of you, you might be dealing with a Gemini or a Virgo. High Priestess is Cancer. I know some people are interested in that, but this can sometimes also, for me, represent like a soulmate or a twin flame, or even, not even in a romantic sense, it could be like a best friend, like the Magician and the Magician. It's like when you raise your vibration and come into your full-on power, Cancer, you may meet someone who they're in the same place, they're on the same path of life, and it's like your energies are matchy-matchy, if you will. You're both magicians in your own right, so there wouldn't be this imbalance of you overgiving or someone being more dominant in the relationship and you having to like obey their law and order, whatever that is. yeah, this could be a very good relationship, again, be it friendship or romantic if you're looking for that. Um, and so this is a reminder to you that whoever this was or whatever this was that caused you such great mental strain, but potentially great heartbreak and sorrow, this is not the only opportunity for what you thought would have been your purpose, your goal, your whatever, your happiness. It's like there's more people out there, there's other fish in the sea, there's better jobs, there's fill in the blank, there's better houses. Do you know what I'm saying? It's a reminder to come into your power, but that you have greater things, more magical things that you are capable of manifesting, but you have to check in with yourself first. The power rests with you, Cancer. This is one of your cards. So lastly, we have the card of perfection. Wow, okay. So yeah, this is saying to me a couple things here. One of the messages with this perfection card is that your dream life, your dream scenario is not going to show up on your front door looking like your dream scenario. So whether that's a job or a person or any sort of I just want to say any sort of avenue that you're looking for change in your life, it's not going to show up looking like $1 million. It's going to take some work. It's going to take some manifesting. There are tools in front of her for a reason. She needs to use them, right? So don't expect perfection when you, whatever, join this company, when you go on the first date with this person, when you know what I mean? When, for some of you, when you have the child and you're in that first few months of being like, holy shit, I'm a parent. How do I do this? It's not going to be perfect. It's going to be a little bit messy. This is about embracing that. It's like, don't get so wrapped up in the external look of it. There's something about superficiality. You want it to look perfect, but then the reality is that it isn't what you thought it would be. And that may have been what got you into this in the first place. You may have met the perfect person, at least on the exterior, it seemed like that. But once you actually got into the nitty gritty, it wasn't great. This is like, don't go for the perfection, embrace the flaws, and know that, again, you have tools to work and to manipulate, right? Not always in a bad way, the term manipulation, right? To manipulate things, to change them, right? For what isn't working. And for this can sometimes be a Cancerian trait too. It's like there's a desire for things to be so perfect that you're almost so overwhelmed that you can't even go after it. I hope that lands for some of you. But that's sort of what I feel like I mentioned that earlier. It had to do with the wishes of your dreams. It's like some of you have this pipe dream of, oh, well, I've always wanted to be a actress, right? Fill in the blank. But the idea of having to learn script lines every night, right? Practice those in your head, rehearsals, get yourself all dolled up and pretty and go to auditions, book auditions, get an agent. The idea of that is so overwhelming to you that you don't even try. Because if you can't do it perfectly, some of you are telling yourselves, well, it's not even worth it. And that is not true. That is your Eight of Swords. That is the bullshit you're telling yourself. Because Cancer, you need to go after what your heart is telling you to do. You need to follow your intuition, right? Don't expect perfection. It's okay to be a hot mess, right? It's like acknowledging that there's things in your life that you want to change and being like, okay, here are my tools. How am I going to change it? All right, it's actually quite optimistic, and I do kind of like that your reminder is like, it's okay to not be perfect, Cancer. You're beautiful no matter what you look like, no matter what you do, as long as you listen to your heart and you're truthful to yourself, to what your heart is calling you to do. All right, Cancer, that's what I got for you. If you did enjoy that video, please do like, share, subscribe. I will see you guys very soon for another tarot reading, and thank you for joining me today. Bye, guys.